Also give an update on the virus at the White House at 6 p.m. today. And in related news, the coronavirus outbreak has turned some Italian towns into deserted ghost towns, with locals forced to spend most of the day indoors.
Usually bustling with people and traffic, now deserted. The narrow streets of San Fiorano in northern Italy. It's one of the towns the country has put into effective quarantine, a coronavirus ghost town near Milan.
Marzio
Toniolo is a primary school teacher here, one of some 50,000 people who've had their lives put on hold, told by the authorities to stay indoors as much as possible.
We can take walks, we can walk our dogs, we can go jogging, we can ride bikes. But authorities suggested to us that we avoid contact with other people. We know that we may be infected and that we may already have contracted the coronavirus.
Marzio lives with his wife and 2-year-old daughter. His grandparents also share the house. Life is in limbo here, with little to do except watch the news for the latest on the virus and stare out of the window and wonder how long this will last.
My grandparents are 90, so we know that the risks, especially for them, are high. The coronavirus does not appear to have any effect on children except for a mild fever.
Day 5 of the quarantine and Marzio has run out of food. He'd normally pop out to his local shop, but this week he really needs to stock up, so he's forced to drive more than 6 kilometres to Codogno, the small town where Italy's outbreak of the virus began. The long line suggests many more are in the same boat. Marzio drives down an empty road to find a military police blockade at the entrance of the so-called red zone. He can't get close. Anyone who tries to escape the blockade faces up to 3 months in prison. Marzio has received news that a friend of his had contracted the coronavirus, but it's good news. He's already made a full recovery. There's a nervousness among locals in San Fiorano, one of about a dozen Italian towns in virtual lockdown. The wait for life to return to normal has a while to run yet.
The United States is imposing sanctions on 13 foreign entities and individuals for supporting Iran's missile program. The targets of this latest move come from China, Iraq, Russia, and Turkey.
The State Department said the action includes new sanctions against 3 Chinese firms, a Chinese individual, and a Turkish company. The Chinese individual, Luo Dingwen, was also involved in supplying sensitive items to Pakistan's weapon program. The statement did not disclose details about the Russian and Iraqi entities to face sanctions. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Washington will continue to use all available measures to prevent Iran from advancing its missile capabilities. The State Department says the actions came about after a periodic review of sanctionable activity as required by the Iran, North Korea, and Syria Non-Proliferation Act.
The first hearing of the trial of 2 U.S. students jailed over the murder of a police officer in Rome last year started today. The gruesome killing shocked Italy.
It was a gruesome killing that shocked Italy, and on Wednesday, the first hearing of the trial of 2 U.S. students jailed over the murder of a police officer in Rome last year got underway. Finnegan Lee Elder and Gabriel Christian Natale Yorth, both from San Francisco, were arrested in July on suspicion of murdering police officer Mario Churchiello Rega after a dispute following a failed drug deal. Police say the 35-year-old officer, who was unarmed and in plain clothes, was attacked by Elder as he was trying to arrest him and Natale Yorth on suspicion of stealing a backpack from a drug dealer who they believed had cheated them. Another police officer was allegedly injured in the incident by Natale Yorth. Police say Churchiello Rega was stabbed 11 times with a 7-inch combat knife that Elder brought to Italy from the US. The Americans have said they did not know the man stabbed was a policeman. However, the city's police chief said at the time that both officers had clearly identified themselves as police to the pair before the attack. The pair have been kept in a Roman prison and will face charges of murder and attempted extortion.
Up next, internal documents show China's second most populous province is underreporting coronavirus infections. At the most extreme, the number of diagnosed virus cases was 52 times higher than what was officially reported. That and more when we return.
When you look at TV networks in America, a soundbite and fight-it-out culture prevails on news and commentary programs. As a Canadian, I'm fascinated with America, and I wanted to offer American thought leaders an opportunity to share their thoughts in a deep dive format, where we can explore their ideas together. And so American Thought Leaders was born. The world's most brilliant thinkers believed that open discourse was the key to greatness. However, all around the world, we see that discourse is being stifled and political agendas have subverted media. The Epoch Times launched its Global Thought Leaders program to bring back this great tradition of free thought. As the host of American Thought Leaders, every week I interview some of the most intriguing minds on the most pressing issues of our time. Be sure to check out our new episodes every week.
Internal documents obtained by NTD shows China's second most populous province is underreporting coronavirus infections. NTD's Juliet Song reports.
China's second most populous province is severely underreporting new coronavirus cases according to internal documents obtained by NTD. In the worst case, the number of confirmed virus patients was 52 times higher than official reports. The documents are daily reports of new lab-confirmed coronavirus cases in Shandong province. The province's Center for Disease Control and Prevention sends these briefings to the Health Commission of Shandong on a daily basis. Shandong is China's second most populous province. Its population is almost a third the size of the total U.S. population. It's situated in the northwest of Wuhan, the outbreak epicenter of the coronavirus in China. The documents show that from February 8th to 22nd, Shandong province has been consistently underreporting new coronavirus cases to varying degrees. On February 18th, 52 patients tested positive for coronavirus in Shandong. Authorities reported only one infection. On February 21st, 59 cases returned positive. Shandong reported 2 of them. The internal report shows that some days, the official figures are relatively close to the lab-confirmed cases. The largest spike of infection numbers in Shandong peaked on February 20th. The internal documents show 274 cases. The official report is 202. The documents also indicate that some medical institutions were not testing patients during this time, likely due to a shortage of virus test kits. Reporting by Juliet Song, NTD News.
A political analyst says the Chinese regime takes advantage of free speech in the West to push its propaganda. This in the wake of the State Department unmasking Chinese operatives working as journalists in the U.S. NTD's Kevin Hogan has more.
The State Department last Tuesday designating 5 Chinese state-run media outlets, including China Daily and Xinhua News, as foreign missions because they're owned or controlled by the Chinese regime. A media consultant says transparency in journalism is essential
so that we know, what companies are related or what entities are related to what journalism, so people can make their own decision about what narrative that press agency or that media company is putting out.
The U.S. government will require these news outlets to give information on their real estate and employees to operate in the United States. The State Department says these agencies are not independent journalistic outlets, but are part of the Chinese regime's propaganda machine. A member of the clothing industry who has experience in China says the U.S. is
trying to protect their own and protect their people and protect the right news that's coming out, because obviously none of us want propaganda.
A senior political analyst on China says the Chinese regime has been spreading its propaganda in the U.S. for many years, but the U.S. government has only recently realized it.
It has to be in another category as a part of the foreign government. It's not represent. It is foreign government. I think this is very accurate to describe those entities.
And what values is the Chinese Communist Party trying to promote?
In China, their ideology is totally different. They believe they need to change the world, destructive power. Destroy the whole world and establish a totally new world. And the new world was based on the Marxism, Leninism, and in China, Mao Zedong thought. And those are the class struggle. They make enemies, and they ask the people to make enemies each other and then fight each other. That's called class struggle.
The Justice Department in 2018 told Xinhua and China Global Television Network to register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. It's the same act that prevented Nazi propaganda from being spread in the U.S. The analyst says this law hasn't been enforced since after World War II because there hasn't been any need to worry about foreign propaganda until now. Kevin Hogan, NTD News, New York.
Carry out the
Coming up in Australia, rainfall is giving people hope. One farmer is cautiously optimistic after a 3-year drought crippled his farm. Find out more when we return.
I think it's absolutely fantastic.
I don't know how you would not enjoy this.
It's like a painting coming to life.
I laughed, I cried, I was so touched.
The scenes, the sets, the costumes.
The dancing, the choreographing, the music, everything was just spectacular.
There's no words for it.
It's just heavenly.
This was the best ever.
The dancers, your mouth is dropped. You're like, wow, this is just beautiful to watch.
The technique is flawless. Really, it is.
The skill and the talent on the stage are jaw-dropping.
They perform in perfect unison. They're just stunning.
The actual ambiance of the background, there was always the beautiful landscape, and it was so colorful.
I find the music amazing.
The orchestra, the instruments, it was really brilliant. So moving and so powerful and uplifting.
The idea of everybody coming from a celestial place. It's all beauty and truth and light. It's very emotional.
It gives me inspiration. True blessing to be here and witness it all.
If somebody wants to know about China, there's nothing better than seeing Shen Yun.
Shen Yun is definitely something you cannot describe.
It's something you have to see to believe.
It's a must-see.
And I would recommend this to all my friends.
Don't wait. Get your tickets now.
The Hong Kong government announcing today its largest relief fund in a decade to ease current economic difficulties. The impact from last year's pro-democracy protests added to an already troubled economy. Budget deficits are expected for the next 5 years.
Hong Kong's financial secretary Paul Chan said the Chinese-ruled city recorded its first budget deficit in 15 years in 2019 to 20 at nearly $5 billion, or about 1.3% of gross domestic product. He said the economy was already in an uncertain state last year.
Before we could sort things out, there was an unexpected outbreak of the novel coronavirus disease. Preventing and fighting against the epidemic, as well as deploying resources to alleviate the pressure on enterprises and the general public, are our top priority.
So Hong Kong decided to disburse handouts of the equivalent of over $1,000 to its residents aged 18 or above, with a view to encouraging and boosting local consumption. Yet a financial analyst said the relief measures will not stop the recession but help in the short term only. Hong Kong's financial secretary Paul Chan said he expected deficits for the next 5 years.
And if they spend this money, actually, that would be hopefully got some multiplier effect in the economy. But after all, Hong Kong is an open economy. And right now we are hit by the coronavirus, and the tourism actually will not rebound for quite a period of time.
Meanwhile, according to a latest poll, the supporting rate for Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam has dropped to a single-digit 9%.
A farmer in eastern Australia is cautiously celebrating the return of rain after a 3-year drought left him with barren fields and hungry animals.
A farmer in eastern Australia is tentatively hopeful after rains returned and made the grounds lush again. It has rained more in the past few weeks than it has all of last year. The region has been in drought for 3 years.
Suddenly you get this green flush that happens where it looks like the landscape's been spray painted green.
The past years have been difficult. Before the recent rains, his animals would approach him out of hunger. It was not easy for Doherty and his family, but Doherty says he got through the drought periods by not thinking about it too much.
I know it's horrible, but you can't think that it's horrible because you've got to get up in the morning and carry on again. So you just push these thoughts all the way back again and keep going.
Although the rains have seemingly ended the drought, Doherty remains vigilant.
You've got to be a really big risk taker, and if you think that this is, it's all done now and we're going to go back to normal.
He's cautious about celebrating too soon, but he still says the current rain makes the drought seem like a distant memory.
Up next, one of the greats in tennis is retiring. Maria Sharapova made the announcement via a fashion magazine. Find out what her reasons were and more after the break.
Factual,
honest news.
Not biased, but completely straightforward.
You're not emotionally going up and down.
Bringing morality back to newspapers.
The honest, old-fashioned journalism.
You're presenting the facts and letting the reader decide.
The Epoch Times is a fearlessly independent news media that publishes in 35 countries and 21 languages. Truth and tradition is our motto. Founded as an antidote to communist propaganda, today we're quickly becoming a household name across America. Our subscribers thank us for our relentless and unbiased coverage.
I've been part of the Epoch Times for nearly a decade because I've seen there's no other major media outlet in the world as devoted to real journalism. The Epoch Times has never had any corporate or political agenda. We only serve our readers, and we'll stay that way, no matter what.
We connected the dots around Spygate, the Obama administration's elaborate efforts against Trump's 2016 campaign. We often break news months ahead of other media on topics such as Chinese espionage, cyber warfare, subversion in America, and more. But our authoritative reporting didn't only just begin. We are tried and true.
Our paper was born out of the need to respond to a human rights catastrophe in China. It was enabled by the Communist Party's vicious and dishonest propaganda. We soon learned that Western media were picking up and amplifying the lies. The Epoch Times' truthful reporting exposed the Communist Party's lies for the Chinese people. But it also helped protect our Western audience. It disabused for them the lies in this propaganda. Our reporting has also helped uncover how communist ideas are taking root in our own country. The Epoch Times started as a small and unknown publication in one of the toughest media markets in the world. We have built it through hard work and trial and error.
We were founded in the year 2000 in Atlanta, Georgia, by Chinese Americans who had fled communist China. Our independent reporting came at a price. Our staff members in China were jailed and tortured for their reporting, some for as long as 10 years. Because our founders believed in truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance, the principles of the spiritual practice Falun Gong. They felt such sacrifices were worth it to ensure for the world an independent, honest media, one that would report on the most pressing issues of our time. As many major media are losing people's trust and declining further every day, the fastest growing newspaper in America delivers truth and tradition. Look us up today.
Japan's prime minister urged sports events to be canceled or curbed immediately, while the coronavirus looms over the Summer Olympics just 5 months out.
With Japan battling the coronavirus, its Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is calling for sports and cultural events to be scrapped or curtailed for 2 weeks. That's amid concerns that the 2020 Tokyo Olympics could be cancelled. After facing criticism from opposition lawmakers, Abe answered questions about the possibility that the virus could stop the Games. He warned that the next 2 weeks were vital to stop the spread. Japan has close to 170 cases of infection, on top of the hundreds reported from the Diamond Princess cruise ship docked south of Tokyo. Abe's announcement came after Japan's professional baseball organisation said it would hold all matches scheduled until March 15 without spectators. The Tokyo Marathon has also been scaled back so that only elite athletes will compete. The Associated Press reported that a member of the International Olympic Committee said the Games are more likely to be cancelled than postponed or moved if the virus threat forced a schedule change, with a decision needed by May.
Tennis great Maria Sharapova is retiring at the age of 32. She made the announcement via an article in fashion magazine Vanity Fair, where she explores the impact tennis had on her life.
Tennis great Maria Sharapova announced her retirement in an article for Vanity Fair published on Wednesday. In the article, she talks about how she started playing tennis at the young age of 4 and what prompted her to retire from tennis at age 32. She also mentioned the highlights of her career, like winning Wimbledon at the age of 17 and the injuries that eventually pulled her away from the game. She leaves tennis with 5 Grand Slam championships and having held the title of highest paid sportswoman in the world. Sharapova says she's looking forward to moving on to a different arena in life, but adds that she'll miss tennis and her daily training routines. Excluded from the article, her 15-month drug ban in 2017. After she returned, she struggled to reach her prior success. She played in only 2 matches this year, and her ranking slid to 373.
And that's all for now. Thanks for tuning in. Join us again tonight. I'm Tiffany Meyer.